President of the Republic, Ilir Meta, has indicted the Minister of Justice, Eltilda Jonaj, for being directly involved in the apprehension of the Constitutional Court. Prime Minister Berisha claims that Edi Rama is the real cancer of the Albanians, as doctors' wages in Albania are half of those in Kosovo. A university movement member outburst during medical student graduation ceremony, subsequently being removed by Rama security. It's 6 o'clock on Friday, the 21st of February, 2020. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Christopher, bringing you the only update of the local Albanian news translated into English. After facts were published the day before, the President of the Republic, Ilir Meta, has indicted the Minister of Justice, Eltilda Jonaj, who, according to the head of state, is directly involved in the apprehension of the Constitutional Court. Meta said he will hand over the report to SPAC for Jonaj, asking her to step down to face justice as a former minister. In this flagrant coup attempt, based on the evidence made public yesterday to be delivered to the SPAC, it turns out that the Minister of Justice, Mrs. Eltilda Jonaj, but also senior officials of the institution, depending on her account of the Constitutional Court's capture by the mafia, appropriating a power that is constitutional confers to the President. The European path of Albania, which is supported by more than 97%, cannot be harmed by any personal whim of any individual. SP Parliamentary Group Leader responds to President Ilir Meta's call to protest on March 2nd against what he calls a coup. There are individuals who forget that personal suffering cannot be overridden by European integration aspirations. We should be in a moment where the Albanians' attention is on the reconstruction process, Bala said. Meta is one of the opposition's leadership. Ilir Meta can participate freely in the tables organized by Luli Zimbasa and the DP headquarters, said Bala. The statements came in a report to the media after a meeting with European Parliament reporter Isabel Santos. For the majority, President Meta's initiative is deliberate and aims to block the integration process. Even Talant Bala says the head of state has turned the office into an opposition's headquarters. The current president is one of the heads of the opposition leadership. Once again, the SP Secretary General turned his attention to the inquiry commission against the president. We do not have a crisis with the president. Ilir Meta is in control of an institution under scrutiny in a parliamentary republic under the Constitution for gross violations of the Constitution. For Bala, changes to the law sworn in by members of the Constitutional Court have been made to prevent the establishment of new justice institutions. The Parliament of Albania, based on the new models implemented with the justice reform package, in order to create the unlocking mechanisms in every situation of blocking by an institution, has a direct representative of the sovereignty that is assessed that any case none of the authorities will hinder the progress of the election process of the new justice institutions in the country. Responding to the statement, President Ted Blushi's spokesman ironically says that the majority has celebrated the opening of negotiations 3 times. He adds that the establishment of the Constitutional Court is key to the opening of negotiations, warning that new facts will soon emerge. Prime Minister Rama is the real cancer of Albanian medical establishment and the Albanians. This is the statement that former Prime Minister Berisha made today in his speech at the conference on challenges and solutions in health organized by the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. Berisha said that in Albania, nurses and doctors are paid half of those which in Kosovo, and the investments in Albania in the field of healthcare are zero. Where are the investments? There have been almost zero investments in health. It's been 2 months since they advertised a nearly completed hospital in 2012, and it is still being presented as the biggest investment in health. Doctors are leaving every day because this rogue is telling them that they are being paid like in Germany. Where are the doctor salaries, and where are the salaries like those boasted about in Germany? A doctor in Albania gets half of the wage a doctor receives in Kosovo, for which they receive a monthly salary of 850 euros. This is clearly a policy of destruction. Even yesterday, Rama showed his thuggery against a medical student in the graduation room. With that act, you beat down all of the medical students by telling a bold truth. The real cancer of Albania and Albanian medicine is Edi Rama. Berisha added that Rama does not understand that the country is worse off than Enver Hoxha's time in terms of doctors per capita because they have closed their eyes to concessions. This ignorant cynic does not understand that Albania in terms of per capita doctors is worse than in the time of Enver Hoxha. They have closed their eyes to concessions. In the EU countries, there is 1 doctor per 300 inhabitants, while in Albania it is at around 1 1,200 inhabitants per doctor. This terrible problem is depriving thousands of Albanians of their health care. But don't be surprised, Rama declared a few months ago and made Europe laugh, saying that Albania has no gangs, but it is ironic since you yourself are the leader of the gang. CDU service advisor Martin Henzi said that there will be a further continuous phenomenon at this rate in Albania. After 5 to 6 years, there will only be senior citizens in the country. In an activity organized by the opposition for the Challenges and Solutions for Health event, Henzi himself said a PPP model without youth cannot function. Albania is facing an extraordinary problem. Young people leave the country, and in rural areas there is a massive abandonment and major demographic changes. These demographic changes are not only happening in Albania, but the most dramatic changes are in Albania, especially after recent development in Albania. The less hope young people have for a future and perspective here, the greater the pressure on them to leave, which means that the pressure in the next 5 to 6 years will increase for those who remain in the country in order to finance different systems, and maybe the country will turn into a country for tourism for the third age, where only senior citizens will exist. Emiliano Kita, one of the students who was involved in an incident with Prime Minister Edi Rama yesterday, tells Ora News what happened at the medical students' graduation hall. According to him, the students were unaware that Rama would be present and that his arrival was a big mockery. We are two activists for the Movement for University who told some truths that Edi Rama was ridiculing all the medical students, but were unaware of Edi Rama's attention at the event. Rama's attendance at the graduation hall is a big mockery. Medical students should leave the country when they graduate because our country has nothing to offer, said Emiliano Kita. He says that Rama's guards put pressure on him the moment they were driven out of the room. I was badly shaken. I was told I was a reasonable student and I had very good results. I'm a student seeking rights. The guards have gone beyond their duty by exerting more force than necessary during the moment they pulled us out of the room. According to the student Kita, the university is made for the rich. There are thousands of graduates who do not come to university because they cannot find a source of income. Today, the university is a luxury. The law on higher education is designed by private university owners to take more money from students, as private universities are funded through the law on higher education. As fees have become unaffordable, we are deprived of democracy at the university, reducing our autonomy and rights. The student weight of 10% is negligible, and this law has destroyed higher education completely. The pact for the university was a mockery of us. He did not promise discounts for all students, but only for those master's degree. He said resistance will continue, and he promised more surprises from students. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.